One kid killing the parents is a bad seed. Two kids killing the parents is a bad family.
And did you believe that Mr. Goudreau was born in Northern California?
Yes.
And was Burlingame in Northern California?
Yes.
Is that why you used it?
Yes.
Now, when you were at the restaurant, at some point, did you try to write Mr. Goudreau's signature?
Yes.
Did you practice?
Yes.
How many times?
Sustain. Counsel, ask your next question.
Did you eat at the restaurant?
Yes.
And you told us you looked in the phone book?
Yes.
What else did you do?
I practiced the signature.
How many times did you practice the signature? I mean, how many times did you write it?
Like 4 or 5 times.
Did you do anything else while you were at the restaurant? Did you use the restrooms? Did you go outside to make a phone? Did you do anything?
I ate. I don't really remember what else I did.
What about your brother? Do you remember what, if anything, he did at the restaurant?
I don't remember.
Was he with you all the time, or did he leave you at some point?
No, he left me a lot.
Do you know what he was doing?
I don't quite know.
Well, do you know if he went to the restroom?
I guess that's where he was going.
How long did it take the two of you to drive down to San Diego from Santa Monica?
2.5, 3 hours?
And then you went to a gun store?
Yes.
And then you went to this restaurant?
Yes.
And then you ate?
Yes.
Do you believe your brother ate?
Yes.
Did you have anything to drink?
Yes.
Now you returned to Los Angeles Friday night.
Yes.
And you recall a conversation with your mother Friday night concerning the boat trip.
Yes.
And do you remember your brother testifying to that conversation?
Yes.
And was that essentially the way you also remembered it?
Yes.
Then let's move on to Saturday then. Do you recall on Saturday in the afternoon going to a gun store here in Van Nuys?
Yes.
How was that gun strike that? Who selected that gun store?
I did.
And how did you know about it?
I looked it up in the phone book.
Was there a particular reason why you selected that particular gun store?
Yes.
And what was the reason?
Because it had a firing range next to it.
And how did you know that?
Because it said so in the phone book. I think there was a little picture, I'm not quite sure.
Said so in the phone book that it had a firing range?
Yes.
And why did you care if the gun store had a firing range?
Because I had no idea how to fire this gun, and if I ever had to, I thought I might need to know how.
On Friday, when you were coming back to Los Angeles, had you put any shells in your gun?
Yes.
How many had you put in?
2.
And were these the shells that your brother picked up off the stack in the Big Five?
Yes.
And why did you put 2 shells in the car?
So that I could see if I could load it, and so that it would be loaded.
Why didn't you load it all the way?
I didn't think I'd need to.
Did you know what 2 shells could or would do to someone?
I had an idea.
Did you think that was a very dangerous thing, 2 shotgun shells in a shotgun?
Yes.
When you got to the gun store on Saturday, the one in Van Nuys, did you find something out about the firing range?
Yes.
What did you find out?
That you couldn't fire off a shotgun or a rifle inside the range.
What kind of firing range was it?
It was an indoor firing range, and you could only fire off apparently handguns or something like that.
But you were told by the people at the establishment that you could not fire a shotgun at that range?
Yeah, I was told by the people across the street, I guess.
Across the street?
At the gun store. The firing range was across the street from the little gun store.
Okay. Did you make your inquiries at the gun store or at the firing range?
At the gun store.
And the people at the gun store told you you couldn't use the range for a shotgun?
That's right.
Had you taken the shotgun along with you?
Yes.
Had you taken it out of the car?
No.
While you were at the gun store, did you and your brother purchase different ammunition from what he had picked up from the stack at the Big Five?
Yeah, we purchased what the guy said to purchase.
And do you recall what type of ammunition it was?
I know now it was buck.
Well, what was he telling you it was? The guy at the store?
He was telling me it was buck too. I don't.
Buckshot?
Yes.
And did the guy at the store give you any explanation of what the purpose of the ammunition that you had already bought the day before was?
Yes.
And what did he tell you it was?
It was birdshot for shooting birds.
And did he tell you how that stuff worked?
Yeah, he said it spread real fast. It didn't work well for burglars. That's what he said.
And you had led him to believe that you were seeking ammunition for home protection?
Sustained.
Why do you think he mentioned burglars?
Because we had told him that we just needed protection around the house, and so he gave us the stuff that he thought we should use.
It's not offered for the truth, Your Honor.
All right, it will be received only to reflect the state of mind of the witness and for no other reason.
Now, did you, after purchasing the buckshot at the... By the way, how many boxes of buckshot were purchased at the Van Nuys gun store?
1.
And how many rounds, if you remember, were in that one box?
10.
After the trip to the gun store, did you and your brother eventually get back home?
Yes.
You heard your brother testify that he sort of stalled and drove around trying on purpose to be late?
Yes.
Did that happen?
That happened after, yes.
After what?
After we went to the gun store.
Right. You didn't want to be home, did you?
No.
You didn't want to take the boat trip?
No.
Sustained.
Were you, what was your state of mind with respect to taking this boat trip?
I was very afraid of going on the boat. We did not want to go on that boat trip.
Let's stay with your state of mind, okay? Instead of using we, all right? You didn't want to go on the boat.
No.
Why didn't you want to go on the boat?
Because I wasn't sure what was going to happen on the boat. It seemed real. I was real nervous about it from the conversation the night before. And I couldn't get a handgun like Lyle tried to ask me to. And so I was real worried about going on that trip.
Well, what was it that you thought might happen on it?
I thought we might die.
And how did you envision yourself dying on the boat trip?
I didn't know what would happen. I know that the time was changed to at night, and I wasn't real excited about going on a boat trip with my parents at that time at night.
Okay. When you got back to the house, though, were your parents still there?
Yes.
And did you go on the boat trip?
Yes.
Now, you've heard Mr. Anderson, the captain, testify to what you and your brother were doing and how you looked and what happened to you on the boat trip?
Yes.
And you've heard your brother testify to it?
Yes.
And between the two of them, have they given an accurate picture of what happened on the boat trip?
Basically.
So let's move ahead. After the boat trip, did you return with your parents to your house?
Yes.
And did you then leave the house with your brother and go somewhere?
Yes.
And where did the two of you go?
To UCLA.
And what was your state of mind at that point, given the fact that your parents didn't kill you on the boat trip?
I didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, it was a scary situation. I knew they were going to do something. They didn't do it on the boat trip like I thought they might have, and I just didn't know what was going to happen or when, and it was real nerve-wracking.
Did you have any discussion with your brother about whether the two of you were missing something or missing something that your parents were doing or overlooking something?
We didn't know what they were doing, what they were up to. They weren't talking to us, and like in the car ride, it was just quiet, and it was real.
Car ride, which car?
To and from the boat trip.
Was silent?
Was silent, and so I didn't know. I didn't understand what they were up to in their own way, and they weren't talking to us and about it.
Well,
they weren't giving us the signs that I was looking for.
Okay. Well, did you think maybe you were wrong and everything was peachy and there was no problem and life would go on as usual?
No, I wasn't wrong.
Well, did you think that at all?
No,
Why not?
because I knew what I had done, and I knew that I wasn't going to get away with it, and it was just a matter of when. And it was real clear from the way my parents were acting that something was going on.
Were they being more, were they secretive around you ordinarily?
Yes and no.
Was this a family with great communication among its members?
No, very little communication.
Well, were they even more secretive and less communicative during these few days that we've been talking about?
Sustained.
Were they more communicative or less communicative during these few days that you've been testifying about?
They were really quiet, not saying much around us. Usually my dad was either in an up mood and laughing and joking and making fun of people with the whole family, sort of talking to my mom, but not being quiet about it. Or he was real angry and would yell or act real stern. But at this time he just wasn't saying anything. And my mom, who was also like that, was not saying a word. It was real weird.
Well, had there been times you've described, for example, in Kalamazoo when your father got so mad he couldn't talk, there were other times, weren't there, when your father wouldn't talk to you?
That was very unusual. And it was usually because he was so angry with me that he could not talk. But it was never like it was in Kalamazoo. That was different. But there were times when we didn't talk, but they would say something that was something, noticing something. It wasn't silence on purpose. This time it was dead silence.
From Thursday night, when you had the struggle with your father in your bedroom, until Saturday night, when you're...
Rephrase the question.
Did you have a struggle with your father in your bedroom Thursday night?
Yes.
Did you throw him off of you when he was pushing you on the bed?
Not quite like that, but I got from out from under him.
And had he pushed you when you had he grabbed you when you had gone to...
He threw me on the bed.
Was it a physical struggle?
Yes.
From that time of that physical struggle Thursday night to in the car with your parents coming back from the boat trip, had your father said one word to you?
No.
And had that ever happened before, or was that unusual?
It was extremely unusual. I mean, he had done a similar thing in Kalamazoo when, after I had lost, he got so angry he couldn't talk, and we didn't talk while packing the bags. But he would say a word, and he would do this. He told me we weren't going to Canada, for instance. But this time he didn't say a word.
Well, did he seem overtly, openly angry on Saturday?
No.
Now, on the boat, you heard testimony from the captain. Did your father ever talk to you individually or direct anything at you personally?
No.
Was there some words said, like when he caught the shark?
When he caught the shark, we went to the back. We didn't want to make it seem really suspicious. And he would say things to the boat captain, and, well, what a great shark it was.
But to you, did he say anything to you?
No.
So, at UCLA, did you and your brother discuss what you should be doing with yourselves the next day, Sunday?
Yes.
And what did you discuss?
We discussed what we were going to do, and we decided that we'd just stay away from each other, and Lyle would stay home.
Why did you decide to stay away from each other?
Because we thought that if something would happen, it would happen when we were together.
Why is that?
It's just what we thought would happen, that if they were going to kill us, that they were going to do it when we were together.
And did you believe they were going to kill both of you or just you?
No, I thought they were going to kill both of us.
Even though you were the person who was the witness to your father's molestation?
That's especially why.
That they would kill both of you?
Or that they would kill me.
No, I understand they'd kill you. But the question is, why would they kill Lyle?
Well, because he knew, and he was the one apparently threatening Dad.
And had there been a threat by your dad about telling?
Yes.
And had you told Lyle that your father had said he'd kill anybody you told.
On Friday.
Had you told Lyle?
Yes, I did.